What's happening, everyone, man? Thanks for tuning in once again. It's Dre here, dropping another one for you all, man. Listen, man, I just wanted to talk about the heavyweight division, man. My favorite division, actually. Um, yeah, man. Just talking facts today. Um, well, what made me do this video today, man, was watching Charles Martin say, you know, nothing's worth it if you're not fighting the best. Nothing's worth it if everyone doesn't fight everyone. Keep in mind, Martin's at the age of 35, 35-year-old now, so he's dead right, man. He's exactly right. It's not worth it. If you haven't fought the best, then you may as well retire now, That's what he's basically saying. So he's calling out anyone at the top, saying, I'm a prize fighter, man. I want to get my purse. I want to fight the best, man. I'm only after the top guys. So basically, man, 35 years old, man. All these guys at the top at the moment is, in their mid-30s or in their 30s, When you look at the likes of Deontay Wilder, he's 35. I believe Fury's 32, So, I mean, once you get to 35, you don't have much left in you, you know what I mean? I mean, sure, you've seen comebacks like Foreman. You've seen him come back at the age of 38. He made a massive comeback, but he's different. He's in a different level to these guys. Not saying that these guys are as good. I'm just saying that Foreman was like, strength-wise, probably the strongest one in history. I mean, put down Joe Frazier, then was the Ring Magazine champion within 2 rounds, man. If I'm not mistaken, dropped him 6 times in 2 rounds. And I believe he also put out Ken Norton in 2 rounds. I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going off memory here, Those sort of things you don't forget. So a guy like Foreman can come back later, but then you got a guy like, Joe Louis and Ali, that came back, and then they got a massive beating and ended up retiring. This is at the age of 37, people. This is at the age of 37. So it's quite common for mid-30s, before you're 40 at least, to retire. And what Martin's saying is that, I'm 35 now, man. If I ain't going to get these big fights, I might as well call it quits. That's what he's saying, and he's right. So you can look at Ali, he finished off at 37. And then you got people like Marciano, he left, in his 30s as well. And Usyk's 34 now, So, I mean, these guys need to fight. These guys need to fight each other more than once, especially for legacy, I mean, Foreman was only 28, and he fought, Frazier, Ali, and all these other guys, you know what I mean? Ali fought all these other guys, and he was still young, so, I mean, it's to see where the division is now, man, age-wise, like for heavyweights, they're a lot bigger and all that, so obviously, man, people's skulls, people's brains, they don't get any tougher. So, I mean, getting knocks, getting blows to the head, man, that's going to force heavyweights to retire earlier. Hence why Lewis, Joe Louis retired after the Marciano fight. Ali retired, I think it was after the Holmes fight. I think he may have had a few fights after that, I can't recall. These guys are retiring, due to big beatings in the ring. And I believe that Deontay Wilder possibly could have retired if Breland never saved him. I mean, And not only Breland saving him, also him having time to recover. He was under surgery. Just imagine he had fought Fury straight after and he just recovered from surgery. I think, they possibly could have retired him if he had taken another beating like that. So these guys definitely, man, they need to fight each other more than once. Especially of the guys that are in their mid-30s, like I mentioned, Usyk and Charles Martin, they need to fight each other. I think Dillian White's 33 or something like that. So these big fights definitely need to happen sooner rather than later. Or else, you're going to go down and retire, man, and people like me only going to remember people like Ali and, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, he fought guys like Evander Holyfield twice, You know what I mean? So they had big fights. Lennox Lewis, man, he fought a lot of guys too. So these fights need to happen, man. Sure, you can say, Anthony Joshua's fought people in the top 10, but they need to fight each other. I'm talking about Fury, Wilder, AJ, and Usyk. Those guys need to fight each other. Sure, you can chuck Charles Martin, Dillian White in there. They all need to fight each other, They need to fight each other now because they're all aging. I believe that, Fury and Joshua, I think they're only like 31, 32, so they still have time, but these other guys need to make the fights happen now. Or else they're just wasting their time, man. They might as well just do what Trevor Bryan's do, man, and wait for a shot against AJ, Just, sign up to Don King, man, and where's my payday at? Just do something like that if you're going to do that. But if you're fighting, man, for legacy and you're fighting to have a name, then these guys need to fight each other now rather than later. Man. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to talk about that. The big fights need to happen now for the fans as well, man. We don't want to see another Pacquiao against Mayweather, man. It's seeming to look that way for Undisputed. I mean, if Fury doesn't win, who knows what's going to happen after that, So, I don't want to see a 39-year-old Wilder challenge AJ, you know what I mean? These big fights need to happen now. If Fury wins, man, I hope that the AJ Fury fight can happen. But enough waiting, man. As Charles Martin says, man, if these fights don't happen, man, we're wasting our time, And you're wasting the fans' times as well, I mean, they want to see the best fight the best when they're at their best, man, The great fights, like a Evander Holyfield versus Lennox Lewis, a fight like that, like a Joe Frazier versus Ali. You know what I mean? When they're at their best. Sure, you can say, Holyfield was a bit older, but I mean, he wasn't as old as these guys are now, so, and every fight that Holyfield put up was always a great fight, So last thing, man, we don't want to see another Pacquiao versus Mayweather, man, when they're 37, whatever, man. We want to see the big fights now. Make it happen, Make it happen. That's just my take anyway, man, of the heavyweight division. It seems like it's on path at the moment. It seems like, you got a great fight within AJ and Usyk that's happening. You got a great fight within Wilder versus Fury that's happening, So the best is fighting the best now. But there's a lot more fights out there that needs to be made, man. And we don't want to be waiting for years and years, man. Never mind having 1 or 2 fights a year, man. You better have 3 fights a year, man, if you're 34, 35 years old. 3 fights a year, man. Because as soon as you get over 35, man, you start declining. Your speed drops, your reflex drops, your power remains the same, but things ain't the same anymore, man. You're not the same fighter anymore. Like I said, Foreman could get away with it. Foreman had that strength. Putting out a Ring Magazine champion within 2 rounds 6 times, dropping him 6 times. only guys like special guys like that can make comebacks, man. And make a statement, become champion again. I don't see Klitschko coming back. I don't think. I think AJ beating him, man. That just showed that, man. That's all I had. He ain't coming back. I don't see Povetkin coming back. Dillian White roughed him up, man, knocked him out within a short time period. He wasn't the same fighter. That's what I'm trying to put out there, man. You're not the same as you age on. So the division's still exciting, but I just hope that these big fights happen now. And as Martin says, Dillian White, he needs to fight someone at the top. If you're going to fly over the pond, man, you might as well debut and fight someone at the top. Dillian White, Anthony Joshua hasn't had a successful debut in America. I don't even think Dillian White's ever had a fight in America, and obviously Joshua lost to Ruiz. So, this guy's, 33 or whatever, and he hasn't even debuted in the US, the mecca of boxing, so they've been comfortable for far too long. These big fights need to happen now, and it's great to see Martin try to push that. Trying to say, man, you know what, these fights need to happen now, because what are we doing, man? We're wasting our time. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to these big fights coming up. As well as, obviously Pacquiao versus Spence. As I mentioned before, Pacquiao's, I think, 42 now, 41. He's not a heavyweight, he's not, heavyweights aren't punching him in the head, he's still the same guy, as in his brain is still in his head, you know what I mean? He can still move well and all that. He's not as a higher risk than the heavyweights are, man. So, he may retire next, man. I think that he might still fight on, just depending on the fight. But, yes, his reflex have dropped. But, like I said, these heavyweights, they have to make the fights happen now, They have to make these fights happen now. And another thing I wanted to talk about is legacy. Some dudes, man, what they do is they go on a streak and then they have the big fights after, man. Examples: Terence Crawford, Deontay Wilder, George Foreman. He was 34-0 and then he started having the big fights. But Crawford and Wilder, man, that's yet to be seen. Those guys are both aging. So, if you're going to play that game, man, of having a big streak, I certainly hope, man, that these big fights will happen next. And it's not a bad thing to do, to have a career like that. You're learning everyone's style. You're learning how to get in the ring with everyone, with different opponents, instead of going straight for the top and then having to start again. So basically, you're challenging everyone from the bottom down, climbing your way up, basically, instead of shortcutting like a Dubois or like a Joyce, went straight from 10, 12 fights or whatever, and he's number one, So it's not a bad thing to have a long road to the top, but as long as you can get to the top and still have the big fights, So I've noticed a lot of people say, man, these guys ain't fighting anyone and all that, man. That's just the route that they've taken. That's what they wanted to do, They wanted to fight everyone so that when they get to the top, they know how to handle business, they know how to take care of business, they know how to take care of different styles, Obviously, with Wilder's case, he hasn't experienced a style like Fury's, Yes, he's fought tall guys, yes, he's fought guys that can box, but Fury's different, Fury's like a middleweight. Fury can move, has way better movement, better footwork than any heavyweight out there, So he's a lot different. That's why Wilder struggled against him, But in Crawford's case, man, I see Crawford beating Porter. I see Crawford making a statement. So time will tell, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, man, I just wanted to touch base on legacy and what I think about the heavyweight division right now, man. Saying, you know, these big fights need to happen. And let me know what you think, man. Do you think all these big fights will happen next, man? You know, do you think we'll see an Undisputed next? Let me know your take, man. Thanks for everyone that's subscribed to the channel and that's you know, been watching my videos, man. Even my older videos, man. Just been, you know, still tuning in, man. Much appreciated. I was actually going to take them down, man, but I see people still commenting on old boxing videos, man. So thanks for tuning in and supporting the channel, and let me know your take, man, on my breakdown of the heavyweight division. Saying these big fights need to happen, man. Let me know your take. Are these heavyweights too greedy? Are these heavyweights too much into prize fighting, man? Does everyone need to sign up to Don King? You know, let me know your take, man. Thanks for tuning in. God bless, man. Leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, man. I'm out. Peace. Much love. Have a great day.